Hello, everyone. I want to apologize for last night where I went overboard. We went over 2 hours worth of Dharma talk, so it messed up a lot of people's programs. Wasn't planned. I was trying to finish the videotape so that we could move on because they're very important stuff we need to discuss and learn. What we learned last night is from the second generation YiXuan lineage here in the U.S. One of the Caucasian monks, disciples of my late Chinese master. So it's good to be able, and I'm very grateful for that, to be able to learn from such great, such outstanding monks. They've been monks for over 4 decades, which in itself is an exemplary and very hard thing to do. Not many of us will be able to do that. So they are to be revered and respected, appreciated, and supported. My message is from doing that is, of course, number one is to learn. That is, you need to learn from the good teachers, the virtuous teachers, who they are. And my purpose is to challenge you. I want to challenge you to, if you see the reason that we listen to these teachers and these revered monks or left-home people, is for you to challenge yourself. That's how I am. I'm challenging you to put the resolve to one day surpass them. That's our small contribution to Buddhism. You contribute by adding, not by subtracting. Okay? All of you will have a chance to learn. They have the Chinese YiXuan training. I'm training you. I've been training you for the last 15 years on our own American style, the YiXuan. Okay? So it's good for comparative purposes, to listen and learn from them. But to me, cultivation has concrete goals. It's not, the people would like to say, I cultivate, I'm a cultivator, and I pursue religious practices. To me, as an American educated person, I owe my education to the West, the Western cultures. So I'm heavily influenced by the American style of culture. That is, we goal-oriented. Okay, to respect them, to revere them, to be grateful to them is okay. That's what is normal. But I feel that if you are really sincere, if you are really grateful for the contribution to Western Mahayana, then I challenge you to set a goal for yourself to one day surpass them. Hopefully, it shouldn't take you 50 years to do that. All right? Any questions or comments? Then the time we spent last night would be worthwhile. Okay? It would not be a waste of time. It would not just be watching a movie, watching a video, and then forget about it. You learn from taking action. So that's what it is right now. I'm calling you for action. I'm making a call for action. Make the resolve and work hard and surpass them. Okay? So we only have one white monk. My master has 3 white monks. So hopefully one day we have more than 3 white monks who will surpass the other 3 white monks. How's that? No questions, comments? Okay, all right. All right, tonight, as promised, we've been doing a lot of research on the question was posed from our Way Place branch in Korea, Jewel Mountain Temple, which the Koreans, they're very firm and strong practitioners of Son. That's what they call Chan. Okay, so Korean Chan, I'm told that they're taught this particular phrase in Korean, and they originated from the Chinese. 随处作主, 立处戒称. That's the quote that was given from Korea. Now, before we go any further, am I correct as a quote? If not, we should move on and talk something that's real and useful, not Korea. You agree that's what you learned? No? Yeah, I have one nod. The Koreans, when they listen to the Dharma, it seems like they're in samadhi or something. They don't move at all. Look at that. I see the screen on the temple in Korea. Everyone is totally unmoving. Yeah? Questions, comments? Yes, yellow.
White.
Xianan says they're muted on this quote.
They're what?
They're muted. They say the quote is right.
The quote is right. Mm-hmm. We should do the tests so that we don't have this problem every time. We should do all kinds of tests to make sure everything works, please. It doesn't matter. We need to make sure.
They don't. Yeah, they're muted.
They're so, you guys are so like childish. The pros always get there half an hour early. They check all the equipment, every single piece of equipment that's used before it starts. Because if there's any problem with equipment, it's not set up properly, they get fired.
Yeah, their intention was to mute themselves. Sorry.
Then Korea should be fired. Okay, so you can translate that as be your own master anywhere. Then wherever you are will be true. Okay. Slide number 2. This quote originated from the founder of the Chinese Chan school, LinJi, which is the one of the most popular remaining Chan schools in China or in the world. So the Korean Son, I believe, is follow the LinJi school. Yes, primarily. Yes. Same thing in Vietnam. The Vietnamese, when they claim they're practicing Mahayana Chan, they also the bigger Chan practices follow the LinJi school. In Japan, it's called LinJi, which is also very widely practiced. Our own Weiyang lineage was smuggled under the LinJi school because we ran out of competent disciples to transmit the high-end LinJi knowledge. And you go to the lower end, then what happens when you are exclusive, you're a boutique kind of Chan school, like the Weiyang school is, because it's rather high-end. So you could call it a boutique. So in the time of the pandemic like today, when there aren't a lot of followers, a lot of competent followers, they can't survive. The idea of the schools is that you need to transfer the knowledge to the next generation. Okay, so like Master YongHua went to the U.S., he spent 50 years teaching, propagating a Dharma, and you don't realize, and he never said this, explained this to anyone. And his job as a patriarch is to make sure that the knowledge is passed on to the next generation. Okay, so that's why the Weiyang school back then they had very competent disciples, so they were flourishing for a while. They found very good disciples, and it hit the point where the Weiyang disciples' potential are not high end anymore. So, and because of the small number, so they folded into the LinJi school. Okay, it's not until I'm told that Master Xu Yun came along and he revived. He was recognized, we're not sure how, as a Weiyang patriarch. And I am only repeating the words of the Weiyang patriarch, like Master YongHua. So you know it's true. It's not my words. Okay. So now Master Xu Yun revived the Weiyang school, and he recognized my late Chinese teacher as a Weiyang patriarch. Then Master YongHua brought the Weiyang lineage from China to the U.S. Yeah. And so so that's why now in the U.S. we have still a lot of followers of LinJi practices, and we are starting to propagate the Weiyang style of Chan training as well. So Master LinJi said, so we go to this text. There's a nice thing about Chan is that there are a lot of, there's a wealth of reference materials in Chinese that you can find. And that's what we did. We researched. My team, my supporters did the research for the Chinese materials, which I'm very grateful for. There's no way I could do it in one day, okay? Because my Chinese vocabulary is very limited to only Chan things and Buddhist things. If you talk to me about common greetings and ordinary things you say to each other, people say to each other, I wouldn't be able to understand. Okay, I'm only a reader, not a talker. So Master LinJi, he used to have a lot of disciples. He would speak Dharma to them. So this is one of the times where he taught his followers. He said, practitioners, there's no need to apply efforts when you practice the Buddha Dharma. Just do what is normal and as if there's nothing special about it. All right? So what does it mean? It means that you should practice the Buddha Dharma, meaning you should meditate, you should recite mantras, you should bow, you should recite sutras, and so forth. You should practice precepts, cultivate precepts. And if you do it right, ultimately, you'll be able to do those things, recite the Buddha's name, practice chant, as if an ordinary thing, as it's a normal thing you do. You don't see it as cultivation anymore. Is it clear? So, you notice nowadays a lot of Asian practitioners, I call it Asian style practitioner, they say, we cultivate. Right? We are cultivators. We meditate. We recite sutras. We recite mantras. All right? We cultivate. You only say you cultivate because you haven't yet understood or known how to cultivate. That's why you say, we cultivate. The people at the level of Master LinJi, he says, I don't cultivate. That's why I taught all of you, all the Asians, Buddha Dharma practitioners, they cultivate. They practice song, they practice chant. We don't cultivate. Okay? Now, you can't claim you're the same level as Master LinJi. He doesn't cultivate anymore. You don't cultivate. You receive training. So that one day, you're just like him. I don't cultivate. And my daily life is cultivation, okay? But I don't call it cultivation anymore because that's how I live. So there's no need to call it as cultivation. And I live, meaning that as an ordinary daily things I do. Nothing special about it. I get up, whatever I do is to cultivate. Therefore, there's no need to call it cultivation anymore. Okay? Nothing special about it. Next, number 3. Now, the Chan school is kind of sometimes gross, too coarse, if you will. Chan masters, like even my own Chinese master, he says, I'm pretty coarse as a person, okay? No education, and short on top of it. So whether you shit or you take a leak, whether you dressing or you eating, okay? And when you tired, you lay down to rest, okay? And that's what is these people do. It's an ordinary thing. Going to the toilet, eating, dressing, those ordinary daily things is nothing special about them. And yet, they're cultivating. All right? And when you talk like that, the confused one, the people who are stupid, would ridicule me, whereas the ones with wisdom would know what I'm talking about, would understand. You see, so the people who are saying, I cultivate, we practice Chan, we are true cultivators. Some of my master's disciple, wrote some book that says, Letters from True Cultivators. And I laughed, and laughed. Back then already, when I was a novice, I said, you don't say that. If you're true cultivators, why would you call yourself a true cultivator? It seems like self-advertising. Even if you're true cultivators, you don't ever call yourself true cultivators. If you know what is true, you don't ever need to call it true anymore. Okay? The wise ones, the one with wisdom, we know what I'm talking about. It's the one who do not have any real wisdom, would, grandstand and proclaim they're cultivators, they're true cultivators, they are big contributors of Buddhism, and so forth. Okay. Number 4. There's an old saying. Those who apply efforts on the outside will always be stupid, are the stupid ones. Okay? Meaning what? You make the effort to look adorned, impressive, behave and sound benevolently like a great monk. I remember when I was at a novice, I didn't know it back then, but monks are not supposed to run. Do you know that? If you run, you're breaking precepts as a monk. You cannot even leap. What do you say? Hopscotch. Vietnamese called co. You play the skip things. When I was a kid in Vietnam, that's what I did. You guys don't do that? Didn't do that? In Vietnam, when we were kids, we draw things on a board. I saw that from here as well. And we do hopscotch. You skip and then you jump and then you skip and so forth, right? I forgot how to play that game, but that's what we do. Okay. After you become fully ordained, you cannot even hop like that. It would be breaking precepts. Okay. So at one time, the city of 10,000 Buddhas is known for holding root ceremonies on the dot. Every single ceremony, they start on time. Okay? Rarely are they behind schedule, are they late, unlike us. The true cultivators, if you will. And one day I was told, I didn't see this, but my colleague, a novice monk, told me, he says, because he works in the office, he says, the other day, you know what? We were gossiping. This is what we like to do as novices. Okay. The other day, I saw the abbot running like hell because he was like getting late at the running towards the Buddha hall, and he ran. And when he gets close to the Buddha hall, he immediately stopped and then walked. And we both laughed. We had such a good time at gossiping about things like that. Okay? The true cultivators, the people who really have wisdom, okay, they don't try to do anything for others to see. They can't care less how others perceive you. So they don't need to walk in a certain way, okay? Walk softly, smile benevolently, okay? Like a lot of monks I know learn how to do that, okay? There's no need for that. Be yourself, okay? Because it's very important. It's because if you apply efforts for the sake of external watchers, for other people to watch you, your practice is untrue. Even in one moment right there. Okay? When you run and then you stop because I need to appear like so forth. If you have that kind of mindset, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. All your efforts would be in vain. Similarly, you practice. And then you see Master comes along, and all of a sudden you put on your best behavior, your best smiles, your sweetest smile. Very touching. Master is very touched to those people. It really makes my day. But you know what? You won't get enlightened. So I appreciate you do it for me, but just the rest of you, pick one who does that for me to encourage me in my old days. But the rest of you don't do that, okay? Pick one person. So that person can sacrifice herself, so that she sacrifices her own enlightenment, and the rest of you can become enlightened. Okay? That is okay with me. But if you practice, if you have a spiritual practice with the intent to impress others, your practice is not true. You cannot go very far. You cannot ascend very high. So if you want to beat those people who have 50 years, who are 50 years ahead of you, you have to be even truer than they are. How's that? That's why it's possible. You just have to be truer than they are. Okay? Never practice to try to impress people. Practice and cultivate this exterior thing. Now, on the other hand, why do we also, Master YongHua, my late Chinese teacher, also stresses the 4 awesome compartments? He says you should walk like a soft breeze coming, and so softly, so gently, it refreshes you, but will not disrupt anything. You should stand like a pine tree, tall and erect, short and erect in his case. Okay? So why does he do that? Those are not those instructions are not meant for you to learn how to impress people. Those instructions, as I said several years ago at Lu Mountain Temple, those instructions, those awesome compartments, okay, are the details to help you understand, help you, to teach you the state of a 4th-stage arhat. If you reach a 4th-stage arhat, naturally, without making an effort, you will stand erect like a pine tree, When you walk like a soft breeze, you sit like a bell. That's a state of a superior fourth-stage arhat, effortlessly. So by teaching you that, and you're aware of that, that's how you check yourself. Okay? That's why, unlike most temples, I do have mirrors in our temples for you to occasionally check your posture. All right? Questions or comments? Okay? So when you practice, when you come to our temple, please keep that in mind. There's no need to put on pretenses, no need to put on appearances. Be true to yourself. If they don't like it, tough luck. Okay? And if they like you enough to come and complain to you, complain to others, then you should be grateful. Yes, I'm very grateful that you showed me my weaknesses, my flaws, and I work on them. Okay? But do not cultivate external appearances to impress others. Okay? And you have to understand, these monks and nuns, they struggle a lot to make ends meet. They need to pay rent, they need to pay for transportation, need to pay for their clothes. So you understand the external pressure that normal people have. That's why many monks and nuns in the Dharma ending age, they have no choice but cultivate externals. That includes a time during Master LinJi's where they had to cultivate externals. Because if you aspire to have a big temple, okay, then you need a donor. And donors, if you want donors to support you, you have to impress them. There's so many of us, poor monks. And so we need to distinguish ourselves, okay, differentiate ourselves, okay. And that's understandable. There's a need for them to do that. And that's why if your mindset is on trying to impress people, to make a living, to earn your support, then you will never make it as a monk. You will never become enlightened. And that's why my master understood that. Master Xuan understood that. Okay? That's why he supported us. He gave us a roof, he gave us food, he gave us clothing, he gave us medicine, razor blades, lots of toothpaste and toothbrushes. Must be thousands of them in the supply room. In the city of 10,000 Buddhas. A room full of toothpaste and toothbrushes. Okay, all are giant American sizes. My teeth are Asian teeth. I use baby stuff. But no, they're all big sizes, adult sizes. So anyway, so that's why traditionally in Mahayana, we provide support for our Sanghas so that they don't worry about sustenance. They only worry about receiving training. All right? No need to apply efforts externally. In fact, as a left-home person, you lay person is okay. But once you become a left-home person, especially you novices, you should become invisible. Yeah, when I am in the same room with you, I don't want to know about you. I don't want to hear you breathe. I don't want to hear your greeting me. I don't want to hear anything from you. Okay? You become a statue. You don't move. You don't do anything. You don't talk unless you talk to. You become invisible. Okay? That's our style. That's our lifestyle. Okay? The only exception is when we open the doors, when people hopefully one day will come back to our temples after this COVID thing here. If we're still around, it seems like they're vaccinating, but they started in the United Kingdom. We don't have any vaccines left. How long will it has to be before people feel confident enough to come back to the temple? Okay? I go to the supermarket and I see people social distancing, which is a good thing to do, wearing masks, which is a good thing to do. But what shocked me is the fear in their hearts. They're so scared to get infected. It's terrible. No wonder. They don't even dare get out of the house, let alone come to the temple to meditate or maintain their spiritual and mental health. Okay? They stay home. Wherever they go, they're so terrified. So it's sad. But the point here is it's a very tough time for everyone right now. So when they do, and if and when they ever come back to our temples, and if we're still around, then the novices should, it's okay to greet them, to be nice to them, and show hospitality, be hospitable to our visitors, our guests. But otherwise, when you're not serving the, let's say, customers or the visitors, then you should become invisible. You should disappear. Okay? And monks and nuns is the same thing. You disappear. You don't distinguish yourself. Okay? A person who cultivates disappears. You don't come across as so assertive, so loud, and so sure of yourself. A left-form person, one of which I like, is one of my master's nun. That's my favorite left-form person, okay, that I know of over there. Her name is Yu. Do we have photos of her? Maybe videos of her? You can check some of her videos. This person is very gentle, very compassionate, and there's a gentleness, there's a kindness in her being. That's very nice. And the thing about her, about the good monks and nuns, is that they never come across as so assertive, so sure of themselves. They're kind of shy, hesitant, reserved. Okay? That's how left-form people should be. Let alone trying to impress donors to get financial support. But if you want to get promoted, you need to impress me. Just for your information. Because unless you impress me, I wouldn't know who to promote. There are too many of you now. Next, number 5. You should be your own master anywhere. And then wherever you are will be true. And that's the expression that the Koreans, I'm told, all of them, many of them are taught in Seon. Okay? Seon training over there is that they teach you these phrases. You should be your own master anywhere, and then wherever you are will be true. Okay, meaning that, and they said, and then the Master LinJi says, states come and go. It's not worth hanging on to those states. All right? So what does it mean? Be your own master anywhere, then wherever you are will be true. Okay? It means that wherever you are, at every single moment in your daily life, you should be in control, meaning you should be a control freak. What kind of control freak are we talking about? What the kind of control freak I'm talking about is not the typical control freaks that we see. The husband controlling the wives, or the mother controlling kids. Okay? Those are control freaks that people know about. The control freaks that I'm talking about is controlling yourself. Okay? You should be your own master, meaning that you don't let your emotions pull you all over. Okay? You don't let people coming to you and give you praise, and then makes you happy. Or you don't let people come over and criticize you, and you be so depressed the rest of the day. They don't like me here at the temple. Master is so coarse, so mean. Okay? If you like that, then you're influenced by externals. You are not your own master. You're not in control. You're no control freak. Okay? The only thing that matters, the only control that matters is self-control, not controls of others. All right? So the Chinese says here, 随处做主, meaning, at any place, you should be the boss, should be the master, should be in charge. Okay? Meaning that you, in particular, just to do a very quick check of your emotions. Are you in charge of your own emotions? Just because people keep on screwing up with their audio and video thing, are you afflicted? I am. So I have to work on that. I have to be more a control freak. Or get more competent disciples. Enough is enough. I've been saying this for 10 years now. When is it gonna change? So I used to tell my students at lunch, and this is when the juicy stories we share, we gossip at lunch, believe it or not. Okay, in our temple, we gossip at lunch. This is our fun time together. Okay, and I used to tell them, I said, I can't believe it. Where I came from, none of you would be around because I'd fire your asses off a long, long time ago. And you know what they tell me? They immediately retort is that, Master, we don't get paid. You can't fire us. Then, if I can't fire you, I expect you to be your own masters. Don't expect me to be your master. Okay? Is that a deal? Okay. Then, if you're in control anywhere, then wherever you are, you will be true. That is the measure of success, folks. It's not because you are in your own master, wherever you are so welcome. Welcome, donor of this west wing of the church. Huh? You welcome, you are so liked, respected. That's what ordinary people look for in terms of measurements of success. For us, if I may use those dirty words, true cultivators, YiXuan. It's about how true you are in your heart. No matter what happens outside. The dog barks. Are we afflicted? You bet, shoot him. Or dragons. You understand? The real, what makes a bigger man, it's not stature. It's not, doesn't matter how short you are. It's how true you are at all times, under pressure, in danger, threatened, failing miserably, besieged, or glorious, famous, loved, revered, put on a pedestal. How true are you to yourself? That to us is the sign of greatness. A measure of greatness is how true you are to yourself. Your greatness does not depend on how much people revere and love you. That's not important. I keep on telling my disciples, what's the point in having 10,000 mosquitoes loving you? Or revering you? Only in my younger days, I went to French school, high school, and I remember the story of Julius Caesar. It stuck in my mind very early on. I couldn't understand why. I recounted the story in French. It says where Julius Caesar was sent to conquer a rebellious tribe in the empire, Roman Empire, and he went there, and he conquered, he defeated the rebellious tribes. Okay, and so he stood there. He says, "Veni, vidi, vici." You know what it means? Veni, I came. Veni, what did I say? Certainly I forgot my Latin. Veni, vidi, vici. Okay, veni, I came. Vidi, I saw. Vici, you know what it means? Viet Cong in Vietnamese. There's no Vietnamese here tonight. They don't find it funny. Hey, yeah. VC, I conquered. Je suis venu, j'ai vu, j'ai vaincu. That's what he declared. Veni, vidi, vicon. Vietnamese joke, excuse me. And then, so it shows how arrogant this Julius Caesar was. And it struck a chord with me. I'm very arrogant as a nature, by nature. So I loved that. Oh, wow, veni, vidi, vici. It's that the Latin expression stuck in my mind for, forever until today, until tonight. And he came back to Rome, and he was second in command. Okay, he was not the Roman emperor. So they said, "Are you happy?" Julius Caesar, this stuck in my mind for a long time. He says, I would rather be number one in that barbarous tribe, and then to be number two here in Rome. Okay, yeah. Point here is that he must be recognized as numero uno. This is for Westerners, for people on this earth. We want to be number one, okay? Because we need to be recognized, we need to be adored. That's a human instinct. And that's why we're confused. All right? Yeah. If you depend on external adoration and recognition, you cannot be true to yourself. Because as soon as you need it, you have to cater to that adoration, right? Huh? If people like you and follow you on Twitter, on Helen, what does Helen do? Toktik? Toktik. Huh? Toktik. Thank you. TikTok? Okay, TikTok. If you have so many followers now you have to be more careful not to lose your base, not to alienate your base, right? So you can no longer be true to yourself. You have to be true to your support. All right? So it's very difficult to be true to yourself. All right? So if you can be your own master, meaning you don't depend on external things, then wherever you are, you can afford to be true. Questions and comments? That is greatness, by the way. It's not to be recognized as number one, to be recognized as the emperor. Okay? But to be true, you rise above everyone. See, the emperor is still dependent on his empire, to be an emperor. When you're true to yourself, you totally are above anything and everything. That is greatness. That transcends time and space. Okay? That's why Master LinJi says states come and go, not worth hanging on to. You're an emperor for so long and you have to go. Either you die, you're rich for so long, you still have to go. When you die, you leave empty-handed. Okay? And you face King Yama. Your millions will be useless to you then. Okay? But if you are true to yourself, when it's time for you to go, King Yama, when he sees you, the judge in the netherworld, he would immediately do what? Stand up and bow to you. That's how revered, how famous you are. Not just King Yama. Wherever you go, people will revere you, will honor you. At least those in the know. Who cares about mosquitoes? What they do, what they say. Mosquito words. Oh, what did you say? Wow. You hungry? Wow. I don't understand. We know you. Say what? We hate you. Wow. Oh, you're after my blood. That's why you love me. You're after my blood because you hate me. How can you live your life becoming dependent on others' opinion or words? Okay? You're not your own master. Your success, your emperor position comes and goes. Empires perish. Qin Shi Huang, the first Chinese emperor, he killed and killed and killed. True to the Chinese people, Asian people like us, we know better. We suppress opposition. You say bad things about me, I'll kill you first. Okay? So Qin Shi Huang built the first Chinese empire by killing his enemies, by suppressing dissent. Okay? And he is very successful doing that, sending, assassins and generals to kill and conquer. Kill. And he has very reasonable explanations. He says it's for the sake of the empire. It saves people's lives. It unifies the country so that it's better for the Chinese people. Okay? So it's okay. The end justifies the means. But for the greater good, I need to kill and harm and cheat and steal from others. So he built that first Chinese empire and proudly, lovingly bequeathed it to his own son as the second emperor ever in the history of China. Right? And what happens? You, Chinese people, you remember your history? I only remember the details from the movies, so. What happened? Oh, sorry, no Chinese people here. They're all in China or Canada. His son became emperor, second Chinese emperor. And the empire lasted how long?
18 years.
Not very long. Think about it. He killed so many people, and he is well justified in doing so. He says, this saves lives. Yes, I kill 100, but I save 100,000. Okay? He's very justified in his own mind. But actually, all those are excuses to to justify his greed and his thirst for blood and for power, okay? Hunger for power. But so when your possessions are obtained via illicit methods, you know what happens? In the context of cause and effect in Buddhism, you cannot benefit from those illicit gains. And the proof is that his children, okay, inherited his empire, didn't last very long. Questions? Yesterday, so many questions. Tonight, everyone is asleep. Number 6. Even with the old habit energies, even if you have the old habitual energies, the 5 rebellious acts themselves can lead to the liberating seed. Sorry, I was correcting this, and then I ran out of time. Meaning that we are creatures of habits. Okay, if this life you are a killer, you are a thief, you are a liar. Next lifetime, those habit energies, you will most likely be the same kind of thing, the same habit energies pass on to the next life. Meaning you will also be a liar. You will also be a thief. You will also be an adulterer or a killer. Okay? That's called habit energies. So that's why you notice that some people, when you watch your kids, some kids have certain propensities. Those are called habit energies, by the way. Okay? So if you are true now, next lifetime, wherever you go, you tend to be true as well. Okay? But if this lifetime, in the past, you committed the 5 rebellious acts. What are the 5 rebellious acts? Killing your mother, killing your father, killing, I only remember 2. An arhat, that's 3. What else?
Made the Buddha body blood.
Shedding the Buddha's blood, that's 4. And finally, destroying the harmony of the Sangha is 5. I'm told that some of my ex-disciples called my left home people and advised them to return to lay life. That's a rebellious act. It's not good for them to do that. Did you have a hand in that? You do? Your next life is not going to be good. Because if you commit the 5 rebellious acts, you will fall to the intermittent hell where you'll be tortured to death every single waking moment of your life until you die. And then you revive, and the torture continues for billions of billions of billions of kalpas. You think you're suffering right now. you don't know what suffering really is like yet until you go down to the worst hells, the worst place in this world. It's called the unintermittent hell. It's called unintermittent because the pain, there's no break whatsoever from the pain. Master Shihar quoted a funny story, what I remember. He says there's a kind of hell where it's called the hell of excrements. Okay? So one bodhisattva, I forgot whoever exactly, brought one of his guests to do a tour of the hells. And they stopped by this hell called the hell of excrements. And so the guest of the bodhisattva asked the bodhisattva, doesn't look too bad. The hell excrements. People are standing, in the excrements. The bodhisattva, wait a minute. And sure enough, a bell rang, ping, and someone on the speaker, like in the sci-fi movie, break time is up, back on your knees. Not funny, I know, too dirty. It's called dirty joke. The Chinese don't get it. This is the problem with Chinese people. You don't understand my English at all. Or Vietnamese, for that matter. Yes, sir, question. YouTube has a question, yes.
Tiango asks, Master, how do you stop the bad habit energy so it won't continue? And how do you plant good habit energy for the next life?
I need to use the dirty word, cultivate. Okay? Of course, there are many ways. Don't worry. Even if you don't cultivate, you can still get out. Okay? Of course. Mahayana, we have many, many remedies for people who like to cultivate. And the people who refuse to cultivate as well. Okay? There are many, many ways. Don't worry. It's eventually, the more you learn, the more you find out of the tens of thousands of ways that you can get out of this mess. Okay? But they say that even with the old habit energies of creating the five rebellious acts, okay, if you have those habit energies in a prior lives, so far, from a prior lives, and then you learn, well, this is the answer to one of the answers to the question, internet question. If you have this habit energy to lie, to steal, to kill, to commit adultery and all those things, and from a prior lives, trust me, those are the genes in your DNA, all those G, T, C, A, B, whatever, the sequences, it all contain all the habit energies from all these prior lives. And even if you have those inside of you, if you cultivate, okay, then you learn to be true. Then all those actually are the Dharma doors for you to get out of trouble. Questions? Next. Number 7, practitioners now do not recognize the Dharma as a nose-touching goat. It eats anything that touches its nose. Okay? Meaning nowadays people are upside down. They are so confused. They are so confused by externals because us professionals are so much more creative. Each generation comes up with much more improved methods to impress you. Okay? And that's why this is called Dharma ending age, because we're destroying our own spiritual practice from inside. Okay. 8. These people, confused people, cannot discern between master and slave, between guest and host. These are the Buddhist jargons, the concepts as you need to be your master, you need to be your own control freak, versus a slave to your desires, a slave to others, slave to externals. You need... is it okay to be a slave to your woman? I mean, your young husband? Huh? Is it? It depends. Okay, master and slave, they cannot discern that you are a slave to your desires. You cannot control your own destiny, your own emotions. Cannot distinguish between guest and host. Guest is something that's temporary. It's like those who come to the temple are guests. Should smile at them because they won't be here long. That's why you need to learn to smile at them. We, true cultivators, don't smile at them. But you, novices, should smile. Thank you so much for coming. Okay? Yeah. Otherwise, don't come anymore. We're too cold. I remember I was such a devoted cultivator when I was a novice at City of 10,000 Buddhas. Okay? We walk around all day. I walked around everywhere all day. It's a big, like hundreds of acres. To be exact, 400 acres. So I was walking by foot everywhere. And before that, I would drive everywhere. You know, typical American resident. You drive, you don't walk. Okay? Even if you go shopping, you don't cross the street by foot. You drive your car, cross the red light, and park on the next block. Okay, you don't ever walk. Okay, in my prior life, but after I became a novice, I walked everywhere. And it's funny, the Chinese residents there, most of them are Chinese. It's a Chinese thing. Anyway, they gave me a nickname, the novice who walks everywhere. Because I was tough. Anyway, because I didn't want to depend on anyone. And learn to be poor. It helped. It prepared me for today. Anyway, so where did I want to go? Anyway, it's not important. My prior life doesn't matter. Yeah. Yes, YouTube has a question.
Alta D asks, Master, after I sit for a long time and get up, I start to shiver. Why is this?
Are you cold? After you sit and you unbuckle, usually you feel a difference in the temperature in your body. Okay? So it's normal to shudder. Don't worry about it. Okay? It's a state that will come and go. Okay? Yes, YouTube. Wait a minute. Time is up. Time is up. Shall we continue or we...
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Tango asks, Master, what about the monastics? Are they permanent or temporary too, like the beings who go to the temple?
what about the question again? I don't get it. Are they permanent? The monastics?
Yeah, are they? Yeah.
My
Are
monastics
they?
are very temporary. They don't survive very long. They say, too hard, too cold. I remember the point now. I remember when I was a novice at the city 10,000 Buddhas. Okay, so I would walk everywhere. I would, practice and hated it because they would not let me meditate. They made me work, but they wouldn't let me meditate. I was really pissed off. But in our environment, okay, it's very interesting. So I lived like that for about 2 years in that environment. And one day, okay, and after 2 years, when I first came in, it's not much of a big deal. But after 2 years, all of a sudden, a lot of Vietnamese Buddhists came from the Bay Area. It's a 2-hour drive for them. So it's nice for them to, on the weekends, to load up the family in the cars and drive to the city, 10,000 Buddhas. It's a 2-hour drive, and then they go there, offer incense, and then they eat lunch, and they're forced to give $5 per person, and then they go back. Okay, so it's kind of a cool thing for the Vietnamese started coming that as sort of like a leisure trip. So many of them came. Okay, do you have a photo of me when I was a novice? I looked cool back then. I looked so happy back then. Look at me right now. I'm just like so stern and suffering too much. Okay, I'm so well taken care of back then. I show you. I promise. I give you. I have an old photo of mine that somebody took of me. It's I'm proud of that. That's the only photo of me as a novice I have. And so I was, I lived like that for 2 years. So you remove from the world, basically. On the weekend, the Vietnamese and most of them Vietnamese will come and visit, and then they leave. So we have very little interaction with others. And the most interaction I had, the most I talked, was to my students. I was teaching at the high school there, the boys' high school, Instilling Goodness High School. So I didn't talk much. So the whole day is basically, talking there, and then the rest of the time we don't talk. I remember after 2 years of living there in that environment, I walked by and I noticed a couple of younger Vietnamese girls who glanced at me and then glanced at me. And I would walk like a robot. Pay attention. Walk like a real cultivator. Not affected by externals. Cultivating the truth. And then a Vietnamese lady would then waited me for I walked to the office. I had to come out, so she waited for me right there. And as I walked by, she says, "You are as cold as ice." And what did I do? Continue walking, as if I was deaf and dumb. Don't do that. I will kill you. You're nervous. You're supposed to be nice to my customers. That's how spoiled we are in that environment. We don't care. We cultivate. And after 4.5 years, did I become enlightened? Hell no. I was even lower than Billy. God, I'm so pissed. Okay, so I decided if I ever have a temple, my nervous system will smile at the customers. All right? Smile at the guests, please. Okay? The hosts don't have to. Number 9. Shall we continue or shall we stop? Because I know I apologize. Remember, I went like way past the allotted time last night. Shall we do it again or shall we stop? Let's take a vote. Those who want to stop, raise your hands. Oh, wait. Let me change that. I know most of you are asleep. Those who want to continue, don't raise your hands. Oh, somebody wants to stop. Traitor! You have to stop? You want to stop Korea? Oh, they have to eat lunch, don't they? Yes, question. Korea, you have a question? Huh? Why did you raise your hand? Speak Korea. Explain yourself. They want to stop? Huh? Do you want to stop Korea? They want to stop? They're hungry? They need to eat? Let me see. It's only 4 a.m. in Lisbon. Oh, they have to go eat lunch. Oh, they have to go back to meditation. Okay, we continue next time then. Okay? Thank you, everyone. Okay. Sayonara. Okay, good night. Okay. Smile. Hey, boy. It's for me? No, it's not for me, boy. Oh, the check is for me. Okay, thank you. Okay, back to meditation, please.